chilling, unsettling, bone-deep terror. What if the shadows of the past never truly left? Picture whispers in abandoned corridors, unsolved disappearances, and mysteries that still haunt us today. You're about to journey into the dark corners of history where time has only amplified the dread. Welcome to 10 forgotten 90s mysteries that are even scarier today. The Jamison family disappearance. In late December of 1999, the Jamison family of Oklahoma disappeared under unsettling circumstances. Bobby Sherilyn and their 8-year-old daughter Madison vanished after reportedly getting lost while searching for a hunting lease. Their abandoned vehicle, lights on, expended ammunition inside, and both family cell phones were still in the car, but found off a dirt road. Searchers discovered their campsite had been scattered, their dog left chained, and a strange stick figure drawn on a nearby tree. Despite exhaustive searches, no trace of the family was ever found. The case grew even more disturbing when, years later, their remains were found in February of 2018 and January of 2019. This was only later identified through DNA testing as belonging to Bobby and Sherilyn Jamison. Madison still has not been discovered. The remains show no signs of foul play, nor did the autopsies indicate a clear cause of why they passed. But questions linger. Why were they traveling at night, and what caused the conditions that left no footprints? Those stick figure symbols have never been explained either. And in today's age of satellite imagery, cell tower pings, and high-resolution surveillance, the mystery stubbornly resists technology's reach. The Circleville Letters. Though the Circleville letters span back to the late 70s, it wasn't until the early 1990s that the case spun deeper into the public's consciousness. A series of anonymous letters targeting residents of Circleville, Ohio, accused teachers, school administrators, and parents of lurid misdeeds. These letters included detailed personal information, threats, and intimate innuendo, so accurate it suggested either insider knowledge or extreme surveillance. The letters were mailed to dozens. The case felt alive and invasive well into the early 90s. Orlando Duke Jones was eventually suspected, arrested in 1983 for attempted kidnapping and letter writing, though he was released after charges were dropped. The letters continued intermittently throughout the 90s and into 1994. Then, in 94, a local school bus driver was tragically ended in a car crash that blamed on letter-related intimidation. Despite multiple investigations, handwriting analysis, and polygraph tests, no definitive author has ever been proven, and the motive remains murky. But today, in an era where digital footprints, metadata, and email logs dominate, the idea that an anonymous letter writer could evade detection seems almost impossible, but to this day, the case remains unsolved and shadowed. The Sodder Children Disappearance Revival. Even though the Sodder children disappeared in 1945, a resurgence of interest in the late 90s, particularly in 1998, brought this old case back into cultural spotlight. In December of 1998, a documentary as well as renewed journalistic attention explored the strange, unanswered aspects of the Sodder family tragedy. It was a fire at the family's West Virginia home that consumed the building, yet no remains were ever found. Reports of possible sightings of surviving children, phone calls from unknown individuals claiming to be the missing children, and shredded remains purportedly buried in a nearby orchard fueled speculation. Parents raised money for investigative efforts, international forensic experts re-examined the evidence, etc. Skeptics cite the forensic impossibility that no bone fragments were found, even according to the standards of the 40s, and probe the family's inconsistencies. Nowadays, with modern DNA analysis, ground-penetrating radar, and global communication networks, one would think the truth couldn't remain buried. The case, seen through today's lens, stands as a chilling reminder that some mysteries may be too tangled for even new methods to fully unravel. The Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. By the mid-1990s, rumors swirled around the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum in West Virginia. Although the asylum had closed officially in 1994, local lore spoke of strange whispers, ghostly footsteps in empty corridors, and unexplained cold spots heard by workers during the early renovations in 1995. Crew members reported tools moving, distant voices calling names, and electrical disturbances. Despite these anecdotes being largely dismissed as ghost stories, they grew into a paranormal phenomenon that's being embedded in true crime and paranormal circles. Today, as the asylum operates as a museum and haunted tour destination, the 1995 accounts remain unverified, but no less spine-chilling, especially when you consider that even skeptics acknowledge that power surges and environmental oddities in old buildings can't always be explained away. In our era of infrared cameras, EVP recorders, and digital night vision, it's startling to think that these noises were ignored or went unrecorded back then. The West Mesa Bone Crypt. In Albuquerque, New Mexico, though the bone crypt wasn't publicly discovered until 2009, authorities have speculated that the began in the early 90s. Between 2003 and 2005, the suspect is believed to have buried up to 11 people, many women associated with workers of the night, in the desert west of the city. By the time the bones were found, decades of wandering desert and arid climate had reduced the remains to scattered bones and partial skeletons. Investigators suspect the passing of these women occurred significantly earlier, potentially as early as the 90s. The horrid realization that someone could have been preying on vulnerable women with that level of secrecy while surviving for years without detection is gruesome and deeply unsettling. Even today, with databases like Name Us, widespread communication, and community outreach programs, the remains unidentified. The twilight of the 90s seems to have shielded these crimes, and in retrospect, the idea that entire victims could vanish in plain sight is far more haunting today. The mystery of SS Orang Medan. Legends about SS Orang Medan, a ghost ship that allegedly sent out a distress call in the late 1940s and found with its entire crew dead, were revived in the 90s. Maritime historians and cryptographers pored over the original radio transcripts, declassified naval files, and survivor logs to determine whether it was a hoax or real incident. Several 90s papers suggested that the incident may have been resuscitated deliberately as Cold War-era disinformation, or that exposure to toxic gases like carbon monoxide or nerve agents has caused hallucinations and crew-wide death. Yet modern researchers haven't confirmed any concrete records from shipping registries or archives indicating the ship ever existed. In today's world of satellite tracking, AIS ship registries, and global maritime communications, the concept of a phantom vessel filled with dead souls should be impossible to pull off. Yet the legend persists and creeps deeper as tech advancements prove what could have been caught but wasn't. The bloop sounds deepening silence. What if the most deafening mystery is the one that makes no sound? In 1997, the NOAA recorded an ultra-low frequency sound, nicknamed the bloop, deep in the South Pacific. It was powerful, low frequency, and unlike any known marine animal. Media and scientists speculated wildly: giant sea creatures, unknown leviathans, or massive ice quakes. In the late 90s, the public was captivated. Now, with decades of refined acoustic modeling, more advanced hydrophone arrays, and confirmed data, the NOAA ultimately attributed it to ice quakes, cracking Antarctic ice sheets. But despite that explanation, portions of the spectrum remain unexplained, and some researchers question whether we've really heard the full truth. In today's world of ocean floor mapping, deep-sea robotics, and expansive marine biology databases, the fact that such a rumble once shook us still echoes with cosmic dread. The Green Children of Woolpit rediscovered. The legend of the Children of Woolpit dates all the way back to medieval England, but in the 1990s, the story underwent an eerie resurgence in folklore circles, sparked by a 1993 book and renewed interest in unexplained historical anomalies. Two children rumored to have green-tinted skin and strange language appeared in the English village of Woolpit in the 12th century. The 90s revival examined green pigmentation possibly caused by chlorophyll or a congenital rare blood disorder or alien origin. Folklorists and medical experts argued over everything from fungus exposure to collective memory. What once was a quaint medieval fable became, in the 90s, a thought experiment about lost civilizations and alternate realities. Today, with genetic analysis, ancient DNA techniques, and global anthropology networks, we could potentially test claims. Yet the mystery lingers, unverified and unnerving all the more because scientific tools that could solve it remain unused. The strange disappearance of Asha Degree. Though Asha Degree vanished in 2000, just a heartbeat after the 90s, the mystery had roots in late 90s behavior patterns and community awareness. A 12-year-old girl from Shelby, North Carolina disappeared from her bedroom in the early morning hours of February 14, 2000. Her packed school bag, shoes filled with socks, and pages from a holiday catalog found along a possible route painted a haunting picture. Searches throughout 2000 and years beyond yielded no sign. Retrospective investigation into her life into the late 90s highlighted subtle clues, reports of sleepwalking, possible family stress, journal entries referencing running away, etc. Despite widespread media coverage and FBI involvement, her fate remains unknown. But looking back now, from today's vantage of ubiquitous cell phone tracking, home surveillance cameras, and digital footprints, it's chilling to realize how easy a child could vanish into thin air. The unsolved passing of Diana, Princess of Wales. No 90s mystery is more globally seared into memory than that of the sad passing of Princess Diana of Wales on August 31st, 1997. Officially, it was ruled a fatal car crash caused by reckless driving, but conspiracy theories have festered ever since. Claims of assassinations orchestrated by royals or intelligence agencies, compromised security protocols, manipulated evidence, or tampered medical reports. In the late 90s, inquiries like the French judicial investigation, concluded in 2006 but built on 90s rumors, attempted to bring closure. Yet in 2025, decades later, clandestine telegrams, declassified documents, and re-examined autopsy reports and renewed documentary projects continue to carve away at the official narrative. The persistence of doubt, the opacity of royal power, and the certainty of her passing makes it an enduringly terrifying chapter. Even now, with health surveillance records, global media scrutiny, and online forensic communities, the truth feels even more elusive, haunting, unresolved, and devastating in equal measure. But let me know which one of these you guys found most interesting, or where you were when any of these happened, especially Princess Diana. I remember where I was. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, because you won't want to miss what's next.